Hey guys, if you have a person who's considered armed and dangerous and have a backpack on their person, can you just open up that backpack? Or do you have to pat it down first? My name is Anthony Bandiero. I'm an attorney and senior legal instructor, bringing you the Roadside Chat. So this one is a question from an officer in Pennsylvania. He says, I had a question regarding Terry stops, and I live in Pennsylvania. I received a call about a male pointing a gun at a person and making threats with a firearm. I conducted a Terry frisk on the person, so far so good, and we get reports they actually put the firearm in his backpack, I guess before the cops arrived. I'm still good with the pat down, by the way. I don't see that as an issue. If I don't want to frisk the backpack on the outside out of fear of possibly of the firearm discharging, right? Because I really do believe it's in the backpack. Can I do a limited search inside the bag for the firearm? Right? Or do I have to like somehow, again, start from the outside or maybe not do it at all, right? Okay, so the rule here is this. If you have reasonable suspicion that the person is armed and dangerous and there's a weapon in that bag and they can access that bag either now, maybe not now because they might be in handcuffs, or if they are released and you're going to give that bag back to them, can they then access a weapon to actually harm you, the public, and so forth? And the answer is yes. Do you have to pat it down from the outside? You should if it's reasonable. But here, it would not probably be reasonable to do that because it's just not safe. There's a couple of cases here. I didn't find a case directly on point out of Pennsylvania, but I did find a case out of Massachusetts, right? And it's Commonwealth versus Pagan, 2003, where the court upheld the warrantless search of, the bag, just kind of opening it up without a pat down first because they thought that was a reasonable thing to do. There's also a case in California. It's People versus Ritter, 1997. Now this case is where it was a fanny pack, and the officer kind of testified that there's an outline of a firearm, kind of consistent, right? Consistent with a firearm outline printing in the fanny pack, and the officer just opened up the fanny pack, did not, pat it down from the outside and so forth. And so the court upheld that too. So at the end of the day, while there's no Supreme Court decision on this particular issue, many persuasive authorities would grant you the authority, right, to open up that bag and just kind of do a cursory search for weapons. I call it cursory. Cursory means quick, but also not in depth, right? We're not looking for evidence. We're not looking for drugs. We're not looking for anything like that. We're just looking for, places where a firearm could be. And we go from there. If you see something in plain view, then that plain view evidence also comes in. That's a lot of these cases, by the way. A lot of these cases involve plain view evidence. Not only do you see a gun, but you see drugs. But at the end of the day, the Fourth Amendment prohibits unreasonable searches and seizures. Do you believe, based on what you're dealing with, that it is reasonable to open up the bag versus trying to manipulate it on the outside and possibly have a firearm go off, hit you, hit the suspect, hit a random person? That's what's reasonable, okay? So I also remember a case involving, I don't have the case here, but I couldn't find it, but I remember reading a case involving a duffel bag for some bank robbery suspects. And it was like the same thing. They just opened up the bag. I think they saw the money in plain view, but they were looking for weapons. And the court talked about how it was not safe to just have these officers, start manipulating the bag from the outside to have potentially the firearm go off. Now, you can say, but Anthony, let's say devil's advocate, or sometimes civilians watch this video and they're like, well, we do the same thing with their waistband. It's a little different though. Usually firearms are, in a particular position in their waistband. They're flat against their body, and patting out from the outside is not necessarily going to have that gun go off. Also, as a sideline, the guns are usually pointed down, right? You don't store a gun in your waistband pointed up. So if it does go off because they don't have a holster and the trigger's unguarded, but we're patting it down and it does go off, it's probably going to end up hitting them, not us. It is, it's just the way it is. At least in other words, it's safer overall for us. We don't have the same, for those two reasons, we don't have those same concerns as a gun in a bag that could be any particular position. And when you push on it, there's other things in that bag that could go into the trigger and activate that firearm and pull the trigger. So with that said, I think it's reasonable with the right facts. But still, at the end of the day, what do you need to do? You need to articulate it on your report. Before you guys leave, bluetogold.com, we are the dominant players in the search and seizure space. This is what we do. We are the best at it. We're not going to be shy about it. Nobody does search and seizure as well as us. At least that's our view, and that's a lot of our students' views. So please go to bluetogold.com. Check out our videos there, our books. We have a search and seizure book for every state. We have a ton of other books for your education. We have free weekly webinars. We got it all. Okay? So like, subscribe, share with your friends, and until next time, my friends, you stay safe.